Hi guys. So today you have two papers. We're going to go through the notes kind of quickly here, but one is dot plots, okay? So this is 16.4, and the other page that you have is creating histograms, okay? And this is 16.5, okay? Go ahead, put your name and period on both of them. Okay, name, period, name. You can put period in the date. Okay, but this is 16.5, the histograms, and dot plots is 16.4. All right, so dot plots, we looked at that video yesterday, but a dot plot is a visual display. A visual display in which each piece of data is represented by a dot above a number. Okay, so if we were going to plot the following data in a dot plot, okay, if I have all my numbers over here, remember you go one at a time and you would just make a dot for each one of these numbers that you have. So I have two dots here. That means I should have two sevens up here, okay? So as I go, as you plot the numbers, you want to circle them. So there's my sevens. I have 1, 8, so I would plot that. They already have it plotted for you, but I'm just showing you, when you look at all your data, you want to circle it as you go. You have 4 nines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 11s. Hey, 7, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 11s. 3 12s. 1, 2, 3. 2 13s, 1, 2, and 1 14. Okay, so that's how you'd go through all these, and you'd graph for every number that you see. You graph a dot. Okay, these dots could represent whatever it is that the person is, whatever the data represents. Okay, all right. So outliers. You guys need to be familiar with that word. Outliers are data values that are either much greater or less than the other data values. Okay, which I didn't even notice there was an outlier up here. Okay, 18. So this, let's put outlier. All right, that is an outlier. And I didn't even notice that we had missed that. It's a good reason to circle your numbers. Okay. So the example is 18. We just found that. All right. So if you want to talk about the mean, median, and range, okay, remember the mean, you add up all the numbers and you divide by the number of values. So to save us some time here, if I added up all these numbers, okay, I'm going to get 289. All right. And the amount of numbers that I have, if you count them all up, there's 27. So if I do the division there, I'm going to come up with 10.7. Okay, so my mean or my average, let's put average here too, because that's what mean means, average, would be 10.7. Okay, now the median, we saw this in the video and I talked to you about this yesterday. If you want to find the median, you count the dots from left to right until you find the middle value. Okay? And it can be two values. So remember, if it's two values, you have to add the two values together and divide by 2, right? All right, so let's do this here on this problem. So if I'm looking for my median, all right, you start on the left, you just go one at a time. I'll cross that out, then I cross out 18. And you keep going back and forth. Okay, and eventually you're going to get to the middle. Now when you get through one column, go to the next one and you got to mark it out at the top. okay? And you just work your way down. So I'm going back and forth until I get to the middle. When you get to the new column, you go to the top. Okay, so notice how I'm going back and forth. And my median is going to be 11. That's the last one that I come to. Okay? So my median for this one is 11. And my mean is 10.7. Okay? I'm sorry, I wasn't moving the paper there. My median is 11. Okay? My middle value right here. My mean is the average, which is 10.7. And my range, remember for range, you take the greatest value, 18. So that's going to be 18 minus my least value, 7. So my range is also 11. Okay? So my range is 11. All right. Now, that's pretty much all for dot plots. Okay? They're not very complicated. So we're going to do the histogram notes, and then once you get done with the histogram notes, if you flip over your paper on both of them, you have some problems you can work on, okay? So this should be 16.4, but so first of all, we're going to do the histogram notes, okay? All right. That's the wrong one. There we go. So creating histograms. All right. So you don't have to write a lot, too much here, but this is the most you're going to have to write. A histogram is a special type of bar graph of bar graph to show the frequency of data, using equal intervals. Or, as the guy in the video on Khan Academy said, buckets. Okay, so imagine the intervals are basically buckets that you're putting all your data into. All right, so in a histogram, there are no spaces between the bars. We talked about that yesterday. To show that the data is continuous. Okay, continuous. When making a histogram, data should be divided into intervals. All right, intervals, and let's put here buckets in parentheses. Okay, because he talked about buckets yesterday. All right, each interval should have the same number of values in it. Okay, so your intervals should have the same number of values. So when you group stuff from 0 to 9, the next group should have 10 to 19, and the next interval should have 20 to 29. Okay, so that you have to have the same number of values in every interval. Okay, each bar in a histogram shows the frequency. It shows the frequency. And let's put in parentheses number of times. Okay? The frequency is equal to the number of times that occurs for that interval. So in a histogram, the bars must be the same width. They're not always the same height, but they have to be the same width. Okay, so these are my steps to create a histogram. So, one second here. I'm going to change colors so maybe you can see this better here. right, to create a histogram, first thing you're going to create is your intervals. Intervals. Okay? Step 2, sort the data into each interval. Okay, so you're going to put your data, all your numbers, into whatever interval they go into, which is the group that you decide your intervals, like 0 to 9, 9 to, or 10 to 19. Okay? Step 3, mark the x's. Okay, so your x-axis and your y-axis, basically. And they say mark the x's. X's, that's an S. Mark the x's. So basically that's your x-axis and your y-axis. Okay? Step 4, draw bars to represent the frequency. Remember, the bars must touch and be the same what? Width. Okay? Step 5, you're going to label all parts of the histogram. Okay? So, here is a bunch of data here. It says number of minutes to get to school. Alright? So, for each one of these, they represent different students, how many minutes it took them to get to school. Alright? So, your intervals, remember your intervals, they always go down on the bottom. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 intervals. So basically, you want to split this into, as best you can, you want to split it into 4 parts that are the same size. Okay? So this would be my 0 to 4. This would be my 5 to 9. This would be my 10 to 14. And the last one would be my 15 to 19. Alright, so you create a frequency table that looks like this. Okay, so this is my number of minutes. I have between 0 and 4 minutes, 5 to 9 minutes, 10 to 14 minutes, and 15 to 19 minutes. Now, you have to go through your data, and you're going to basically count up the number of times that you see a number between 0 and 4 in here. And whatever that is, you're going to put it in this box. Okay? So once you get your number, let's say it's 7. Well, first of all, over here, we're going to have number of, this is where your number of whatever it is, but this is our number of minutes over here, going up and down. Okay? So we can start at 0. We'll go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright. So, what I want you guys to do is create the histogram. Okay? You got to go through the data, figure out how many of each one of these you have. Okay? And you guys create the histogram. Remember, you're graphing it, you're doing a bar, and then you go over and then you shade it. Okay? And then you do 5 to 9 and see how many there is for 5 to 9. Alright? Now, once you guys get done with that, flip over your page. I'm trying to remember how I did the copies, but on the back of your histogram page there should be some more questions for you to work on. Okay? So that's what we're going to be doing here at the front group today. So we're going to get as much done as we can. Okay? Alright. Nice job listening, guys, and nice job taking notes. We'll talk to you later.